We've got two presentations this afternoon from farmers. The first farmer to speak is Wesley Brown. He farms in Dunraymond, County Monaghan. He has 90 suckler cows on around about 60 hectares of grassland, which is split into 4 grazing blocks. Soil type is a heavy drumlin, which is typical for that area. The spring calving suckler herd, all male progeny are finished as bulls at around 16 months, and any suitable high-index females are either retained or sold off to repeat customers for breeding, and all the other heifers are then finished at 23 to 24 months. Wesley's very much into grass production, and the farm split into approximately 45 grazing divisions through permanent and temporary fencing, and that allows grazing of 3 to 4 groups at any one time, and he measures grass using PBI. So Wesley, ask you to come up and present.
Hello everyone, very welcome to be here. I suppose we would be all suckler cows be Simmental Limousin crosses with Solaire. I suppose background in the farming, I would have went to Enniskillen College for a year, and we went down from there till we've done 6 months up in Ballyhaise and 3 months on a farm then after that for work experience. I suppose the history of the farm would have been a dairy farm back in the 80s, and then my father decided to go into beef. So we done beef and sheep up till 96. I took the notion of bringing in a suckler herd. So we started off with 33 cows calving in 96. There would have been half-bred and three-quarter-bred Angus, put the Limousin bull. I suppose it's all a spring calving system we're doing. Trying to keep it as simple as possible. We have 3 blocks of land. We've calving down about 88 cows, start beginning of or middle of February, we end at mid-April. Down to 16-month beef system suits my system because I'm breeding replacement heifers, so a lot of the bulls aren't really suitable for selling as weanlings. They're mainly Simmental, Solaire crossed, Angus, so it's a better system for me to finish them. That would be some of the bulls that have been on the farm over the past. Well, those 4 bulls actually were on the farm there. 3 of them are still there, the Solaire is gone. I work in stock bulls and sort of looking at the ICBF figures, which gives us information on its terminal and replacement index. Be trying to look at high index bulls, fairly high, as high as possible really you can get. I suppose traits in between that would be like the daughter's milk. Try and get a bull carrying fairly high milk. I suppose carcass weight, like to sort of control it, would like my cows to be around 24, 25 kilo carcass weight. That's controlling the size of your cow, that you're not going into a massive cow. I suppose the Angus bull, he was bought for a reason. He brought in a trait of days of finish, which he's run minus 20 days of finish, so his offspring should realistically be finishing 20 days earlier than any of the rest of them. So far, it would be starting to prove fairly right. Picture on the left would be some of 2025's heifers. All weanling heifers. I keep them on, see how they are, I suppose, performing. Same as Duncan, you'd be sort of getting that in medium ones, the top ones are nearly going to be into too heavy heifers, and the lower ones, well, they're not going to make it. Like, so you're trying to get that medium one that's going to keep your carcass weight or cow weight sort of around your 650, 670 kilos. On the right hand side, that was the bulls that were slaughtered in 2025. Those boys were slaughtered at 15.3 months of age. This here is really, I suppose, performance on the farm. Heifers calving, 87% of the heifers calving between 22 26 months. I suppose normally I would be sitting at 100. That was the fact of a bull stopped working, so it left my heifers calving slightly later. National average 19%, which is a bit mad. Like, calves per cow per year 105, 25 and 16. We're sitting at 98. National average again 85. Calving intervals. This year we're sitting on 25. We're sitting at 359. Your national average 400. Like, that's totally mad. Mortality 0. Look at that, can change. You can have good years, you can have bad years. I suppose weaning weight at 200 days, the heifers came in at 1.03 and the bulls came in at 1.15. Finishing bulls from 2016 on 390 kilos at U equals 3 minus 15.3 months. This year we got them up to 424 at U equals 3 equals of 15.3 months, which is very good. Gross margins in 2016 were sitting at 974. I suppose 2024 figure is a better figure to take than 25 because of the price rise. We're sitting at 1612. A good improvement on my gross margin. This year we're sitting at over 2500, which shows price-wise what has happened. I suppose 2016 I got into a program, the Better Farms program. I suppose the cows and all were running fairly smoothly, like production and all was good. My grassland management was very poor. We're letting the cows and calves out into a field of 6 acres, and once they thought they had it grazed or once they were making enough noise, you just moved them on to the next 6 acres. Got into the Better Farms program. They got me into grassland management and improving the grassland. We started to set up paddocks, divided into 3 blocks. I'd be running about 35 cows and calves in each block, and then the last block would be replacement heifers, and I suppose cull cows would be in that block. You're targeting to just graze paddocks, clean them out, and just have a better quality of grass. Getting paddocks grazed down to 4 centimetres, staying in them for 2 to 3 days, no longer. I suppose 3 days in, 21 days out was always a rule too, and just keeping them moving around. All the grazing setups will be a lot of permanent fencing up. Went to Clipex the past couple of years because I wouldn't post it just breaking continually. Would use pigtails to do paddocks as well. All paddocks would have permanent water troughs in them. There's all waterways and all closed off. And most of the farms are run with lanes in them, so we're not too bad that way. And I suppose handling facilities, another fairly important one just to have in the farm, just that if you wanted, you have your dosing, vaccinating, anything out there, you have good facilities working. Soil fertility, I suppose when I did join the programs, there was tests done on the soil, and I suppose pH was low, had to raise it, got lime out over the past 10 years, got it up to where it should be. Usually spreading about 2-3 tonnes per acre every couple of years. Phosphorus and potash, I was okay, which was a bigger problem because I have no allowances of P and K, so whatever slurry I have, that's all I'm allowed. I can't buy in chemical P and K, so because the land is sitting in index 3 and index 4. So we'll have to sort of use the slurry and use it to the best advantages and benefits on the ground. Spring grazing, well, I suppose I'd say 66% of the grass is grown in autumn time, which is true, the first grazing rotation. Cow stock calving 15th February. The main target is once that calf has sucked the cow, and that is a very important thing to me, is getting that the cow and the calves doing it all themselves, that I don't have to go and start getting the calf suck, stomach tubing, anything out there. I want that calf up, sucking. I would be a great believer in that ½ kilo of soybean 6 weeks prior calving and your minerals. It just helps that cow to have good colostrum, and it does add a wee bit of extra strength to the calf. I would usually, whatever would calve today, they'll be gone out tomorrow morning, unless there was a calf that was showing any wee signs of problems that hold for another 24 hours. I would have, there's I think 70 to calve between the 15th of February and the end of March. So it's going to be busy. Once you get them out into a fairly sheltered field, a couple of days later you'll see the calf, usually a calf will lay along the hedge, the cow knows where the calf is, go down, I give the cows a wee shake and a meal just to keep them contented, and when you're in looking at the calves and all, they're quite content that you can go on around and they don't take any heed in you. Plus you're covering for grass tetany as well. We would, after I suppose 3 to 4 days, when the calves would be starting to come down with the cows to eat, would start moving into a paddock system, starting to get them into a rotation of paddock systems, moving on every 3 to 4 days. And as that goes on, numbers would build in the paddocks. So I'd be trying to get them all into a rotation of the paddocks as quick as possible. Because you just want to keep it as simple as possible. Once you get them moving, and once you get that old grass grazed off, the autumn grass grazed off, and get that spring grass coming on behind, that's a big important part. We would have the young stock out in the silage ground just to clean it up before you'd be slurrying it. Same story again. You were hoping to get that rotation, that first rotation finished by the end of April, and you'd be going into your second rotation at that stage. I suppose fertilizer-wise, on that we would be sowing from the 1st of March. We'd try and get out the first week of March, do just a blanket sow, about half a bag of protected urea with sulphur to the acre. Spring grazing, I suppose, the benefit of what I see of getting those cows and calves out, the sooner I can get them out, the sooner that calf is hardened up to the weather and he or she is just performing and going on. There's no hold back in that calf. It's less labour for me. They're out in the field. And you're getting that old grass cleaned off your paddock, and it's not actually giving the cow too much fresh grass because she's eating the autumn grass again, and it's just keeping a nice amount of milk to the calf. The calf is now taking the swollen elder off the cow and is fit to handle all the milk the cow is producing at that stage. Plus it just gets you've no upset. The cow is out, she's out a month and a half, she's settled, she's starting a cycle. I would say even before the bulls go in now on the 1st of May, those cows are all cycling pre-bulling. And I suppose it's improving the quality of your silage as well, getting that autumn spring grass off. The grazing ground, as I said, half a bag to the acre. And any paddocks then that are capable of being fit to be spread, I would go out with about 1,500 gallons to the acre on that grazing ground with slurry, just till just to kick-start it as well. Silage ground, we'll be cutting about 35 acres. It'll get 2,500 gallons of slurry, bag and a half of protected urea, with sulphur again. The grass for the young stock and the finishing bulls, we would be going for, same again, about 15 acres, 2,500 gallons, a bag to acre of urea again protected. I suppose that on the right hand side is an analyst of the slurry I was spreading back last year. Nitrogen 10.4, your phosphorus 5.5, potassium 31, your pH 7.1. Dry matter is 6.13. That was all mixed, ready for going out with the double bar. So that was the actual mixed slurry for spreading. Summer grazing. Your grass is really kicked off now. You're on your second rotation. Be walking farm weekly, taking measurements. You want, look at going in around the 800 to 1,000 cover, 8 to 10 centimetres. Would be keeping an eye on the paddocks. If grass is starting to get ahead of us, be starting to pull out some paddocks, and we'll be pulling out a paddock that would be suitable for cutting, because a lot of my land wouldn't be that suitable for cutting, so we'll be pulling out a paddock that would be suitable. We won't cut it straight away, we'll sort of hold it for the time being, because I've seen years you could have a bank of grass and all of a sudden 1 week later, the weather could just totally change and you might need one of those paddocks. And that's why I sort of just hold them till I'd let them grow another 2 weeks before I'd cut them. It's just a thing I've done and it has worked for me. The bulls go in 1st of May. I usually try and one bull go in 1st of May, the next one go in the 7th of May, and the next one maybe around the 11th. It's just spreading them out a wee bit, that if you put out the 3 bulls on the 1st of May, you could have a serious glut of cows calving at one time. And I need to spread it out a wee bit, because the system I'm working at putting those cows and calves out, I just need to spread it a wee bit. Yeah, paddocks, 2 to 3 days. And if it's got a wee bit strong, I'd put up a fence just to split it and maybe get 2 grazings out of it, just to get them to clean it out. You want to try and get those paddocks cleaned out in the 1st and 2nd grazing, because what I find, if you don't get those paddocks cleaned out, you have this butter grass all year that you can't get rid of. You just need to get that grazed out nice and clean, that you have nice fresh grass coming on afterwards. Doesn't want to move now, right. I suppose silage quality, young stock, we're looking plus 75 DMD, I suppose -4 for D value, if you just want. We'll be cutting those paddocks maybe every 30-35 days, just comparing on grass growth. Target is 5-6 bales per acre, around 30% dry matter. Don't want any drier really, because that'll be going on for bull beef, and we'll be adding concentrate to that diet, so we want to try and just keep a moist diet going to those bulls at all time through the feeder. Those paddocks that you've pulled out, you'll cut them as well. They'll go on for young stock feeding. We'll be trying to aim them for your high DMD again. Cow silage, well, a suckler cow, all you need to do is maintain her in the winter time, and that's all I'd be targeting. My cows will be coming in good nick. Be sitting around, I suppose, 3.5 score. Would be targeting mid-May, first cut, 8 to 9 bales per acre. Fairly as dry as possible, 40 to 50% dry matter. I suppose the reason for that is the less bales, the less cost. And that'll be the target there. 2 to 3 cuts, comparing how many bales we have, will make decisions, and I suppose weather conditions and grass growth. Some samples from this year's silage. For the young stock, the silage sitting there, it's sitting at 21% dry matter, a wee bit low, but DMD 70, you could say 78, ME of 11.28, and crude protein is 16%. very good silage. I'd be very content with that silage. Cow silage, I suppose this was another sample, would have been maybe a paddock that didn't go on. A lot of maize silage for cows can go from, as you say, 24% till 42% dry matter. I would sort of mix those two type of bales together through the feeder and feed them out. Your DMD 66 is grand for cows. So cows, all you have to do is maintain them, like protein of 14.4. So would be content enough for that silage. Dry matter could have been higher on that one. Do all bales. I just find it's easier for me to control the whole thing. You're not under pressure to cut a large quantity of silage at one time, or acres. Plus, I can make those bales then for the young stock that I want, and you're making the bales then for the cows that you want. So it just leaves it a lot easier. It would be an environmental scheme, traditional hay meadow. It can't be cut till the 1st of July. It's a good scheme, getting paid for it. There's no point saying anything different. Look, it's grand stuff for cows. You wouldn't be feeding it anything else now, to be honest, but it works fine. I suppose, like, try and get slurry out on the ground after each cut. Maybe in some cases of the grass for the young stock, you might miss out the second spread and then go for the third. Any farmyard manure then left at the end of the year, it'll go out onto the silage ground in the autumn time. So it'll be autumn grazing. I suppose that's another thing would be doing from July, would be starting to take dung samples in all the calves to see worms, any problems. Normally have always come back clear. I suppose we start with dose then for lungworm around the first week of September. You'd be starting to see maybe wee touch of coughing starting, and you just go in with it. Calves all vaccinated for IBR and RSV PA3 as well. We're really on, I suppose, the last run round of the grazing. Calves have started to forward graze more. We have put up horse fences, or the horse pole. It leaves that the calves can go on forward ahead in front of the cows, so you can leave the cows tighter on the paddocks, let them graze it out whilst the calves are way on ahead, getting all the nice fresh grass that they want out of the paddock before the cows get into the next paddock. It's a great system. It definitely adds on weight. And very simple. You know, all it takes is a horse pole, and the calves don't be long finding out how to go onto the fence. Like, I suppose last round of slurry out in September, just empty out all the tanks. Yeah, like last grazing would be finishing up by the 15th of October. I like to have a build up of grass for the springtime, because like I'm taking that chance of getting those calves and cows out early in spring, and I just need that cover of grass to be on the ground for me to have it, because like the past I've been sort of doing those cows and calves been going out from, I suppose, 2000, and I'd say the year before last year was the first year ever I had to take a batch of cows and calves in April because of the weather, and like that was quite annoying to have to do. But if I didn't do it, they're only going to end up tramping paddocks, and then you wouldn't have got a regrowth on your paddocks, and you would have been fighting for grass all year. So heifers in November. I suppose wintertime, soil samples will be taken, any lime that has to go out will be done. I suppose fences repaired. I suppose most of the paddocks really stay set up, but you'll just go around and check all the fences and check water troughs, and if you want to change a few paddocks you can in the winter time. I suppose days in grass, we're 220 days grazing this year. We've produced 9.8 tonne dry matter. Early turnout is massive, just to get them out. Like rotational grazing, it has helped an awful amount. Like it leaves you far more control looking after your cows, and you can just make your decisions to take out your paddocks that you know you're not going to have to graze, and vice versa. And it's a very simple system to get into, and you've far more control, and your cows are far easier controlled as well than going out into this 10-acre field. And the soil fertility, once you have it right, you can grow grass. There's no doubt about it. I suppose I joined the Signpost program in 21, and this more environmental, where I suppose the Better Farms program was more production. I suppose they came up with these 12 steps to try to improve the environment. I suppose using protected urea is one. It is a no-go. I have used protected urea now the past 6 years now, and definitely is working for you as well. Lime, your pH, get your pH right in your ground, you're going to grow grass. You're going to unlock your P's and your K's, and it's going to be there for your grass. Building up and maintaining your fertility in soil, I wasn't too bad in that line of things, but I suppose for us, your 18-6-12, pull it up, and just to get it up to that level that's going to work. And I suppose if you need to do that, I suppose the springtime is the right time to be going out with your P's and K's. I suppose your slurry systems, your dribble bar, trail and shoe, cut down pneumonia. Reducing chemical fertilizer, I suppose more clover in your sward. Better management of your grass will cut down that fertilizer as well by 10 kilos, because you're controlling your grass. You're not letting animals just go in and walk over a field of grass and come back out again. You have them controlled in the paddocks. They're staying 2 days. They're coming out within the 2 days to leave your regrowth right in your paddocks. Suppose, your better grassland management. Improving animal health, same story again. Vaccines, cheapest thing you can do. You can try and get all disease problems stopped, and pneumonia or anything that's going to hold that animal back, just get it stopped. Dosing, taking fetal samples, all that helps. I suppose improving suckler herd quality, same story again. It's going back to, I suppose, Duncan again, taking out those cows that aren't working. If they're not producing a calf that's going to make you money, there's no point having that cow. Just only wasting your time. And as I say, cull cow prices at the minute, you'd be mad to be holding on to those cows. I suppose increase calf production or output per cow, same story again. 365 days is your target you should be trying to hit. Once you're letting that cow go into an average of 400 days calving, you're losing a month every year, reduce first stage of calving. That's another one. This 2-year-old heifer gives absolutely no problem calving. I never had any. There's 20 heifers there and 25 calved, and not one of them had to be calved. To calve themselves. I've seen the year changed over from that system, from the 3-year-old to 2-year-old. The actual 3-year-olds give me more trouble than the 2-year-olds that year. And that was just a proof to the whole point. Yes, you might have to look after your heifer a wee bit better. I would be sort of like Duncan again, to go out with a group of cows, but hitting that whole spring grass, then they've no fallback. They're not been suffering in any direction. I suppose only situation you would have in that would be if you're autumn calving and in the house. That's when that 2-year-old heifer would suffer maybe a wee bit. But in the spring calving, once she goes out the grass, she's motoring and she's producing an extra calf. As simple as that. Reducing age of slaughter by a month. It's not that awfully hard to do either. It's very, very simple. It's all those things are there. It's just getting everything to fall into place to make all these things work. Vaccines again, you're dosing your grassland management, that'll all come into play and will take those animals a month down in slaughter. Clover. It's one thing I sort of haven't got correct yet. I suppose the biggest problem with the clover sward is I would have to do a block of that ground in clover. There's no point for me doing one field in the block of land because you're only going to cause a digestive upset going into it, and you're only going to cause a digestive upset going out of it again. So getting that block of land in clover, it is a big call to get done. But I suppose this thing I will look at more and maybe try and get a block done. Silage-wise, I could head down that route of red clover. More than likely I will, but I suppose at this moment in time, how the silage is going, I am getting what I want to get out of grass, but look, it's there. It's a discussion that I'll have to have with my advisors and come up with some solution. Other than that, that's me. Thanks very much for listening, and hope you enjoyed.